Oh man, this is this is good Star Wars. Bad Batch season 3 has ended, and man, this has been some of the most fun that I've had with Star Wars, and some of the most fun Star Wars moments that I have had since maybe Tales of the Jedi and Ahsoka, at least for me. Season 3 managed to be an amazing closing to an amazing animated series. I loved the stories told in this moment of the Star Wars timeline. The Empire solidifying its place as dominant in the galaxy, the clones and their struggle to stay relevant while the Empire tries to move away from them. Just the early years of Palpatine's reign, I think, is a fascinating time frame to explore. The Bad Batch themselves were an awesome group to follow, with very emotional moments showing their individualism and their connection to each other as brothers. I think Crosshair and his story was some of the most compelling storytelling and character arc in the show. He, as a soldier, struggling with his place in the galaxy, wanting to be a good soldier. After all, that's what he was created for. But then finding conflict because he knows that the Empire is wrong, and then making that decision to walk away from the Empire, knowing that in that moment that can mean very bad things for him. And Omega, oh my god, Dave has done it again. He took this seemingly nothing, annoying little young character and made me care. I am a fan of Omega, and I think that she has such an interesting story behind her that I didn't expect to like. I didn't expect to enjoy, but I did. Now, I'm not gonna lie, as we got closer to the M count thing and Project Necromancer, I was a little bit hesitant because yet again, we are finding ways to connect to the sequels. And I don't know if I've said it before, but I'm not a fan of the sequels.
God, here we go.
For a number of reasons, but I accept that they happened. If you like them, cool, good shit. It just wasn't for me. So the M count thing, I was a bit unsure at first because one, we know where this is going, right? Palpatine is trying to either make a clone strong enough to be able to contain his power so that he can transfer his essence into that clone, or he's just trying to find a suitable host for the same outcome, resulting in Snoke and the clone that we got in The Rise of Skywalker. And secondly, we are potentially making a force sensitive clone, which brought up so many questions for me regarding Omega's midichlorians. Was Jango force sensitive, or did he have a high midichlorian count? Did Boba, being that he was the OG clone, unaltered in every way? But after I sat down and I thought about it, I was good with it. It definitely makes sense that Palpatine would be doing this, right? He's been chasing immortality for years. He's done the clone thing in the EU. It's totally in character for him to have this secret project dedicated to finding a suitable host in the event of his death. It's fine. So I let that go. And also, I like Omega so much as a character. It doesn't bother me that she's this important. It was actually cool because I think Omega is such a charismatic, curious, hardworking character that I was looking forward to what she would do once she figured out what this M count thing was. Everything about her battle IQ, her combat skills have all felt earned. She's had the best teachers and she's put in the hard work to get where she's at. And we don't exactly know if she's force sensitive yet. It's looking like she's not. I mean, after all, a high M count doesn't necessarily translate to force ability, at least without the proper training. And I loved that moment that we got seeing Ventress come back, and the way that she explains the force and how to tap into the ability just felt so Star Wars. It was a dope sequence to see her to try and train Omega, or at least test Omega to see what her capabilities were. And she actually seemed like a good teacher. I was not expecting Asajj to have this calm temper, mild demeanor, and even choosing not to kill the Bad Batch when they attacked her after finding out who she really was. It was really dope to get her back. Now, diving into the last episode a bit, the finale. Man, this was such a perfect ending to a banger of a show, in my opinion. That finale had me at the edge of my seat the entire time. Omega proving to be a brilliant strategist, the constant worry if the Bad Batch was gonna make it or if they were gonna be killed, because I really didn't know. And I swear I thought one of Hemlock's special operatives was gonna turn out to be Tech. I think this was such a great way to put a button on a story that is within a timeline that is already established. There were a lot of things that I thought were going to happen that didn't. Like, as I said before, it doesn't look like Omega is a Force user, and I think that was a good call. But her being out there, part of the rebellion, it feels so perfect and fits so well within her character. That ending epilogue scene, that was emotional as hell, man. And I love that now that I could think of Omega having a part to play in the rebellion against the Empire. And I thought it was kind of dope that we got a little name drop of Project Stardust, which is the name of the Death Star under construction. And we know that the Death Star was being worked on by the end of episode 3, but now the Emperor has really went full force with it and has now put all his resources into the Death Star and having that built. But man, I had such a great time with this show. I really did. It did so well in giving such a great Star Wars story without the major use of the Force, of lightsabers, Jedi, and Sith, even though we did get a little bit, and still managed to feel like Star Wars. Dave Filoni, I still think, is the answer. He just gets it in a way that most people at Lucasfilm has failed to do. And not just him, I think for this show, we do need to give credit where credit's due. Jennifer Corbett and Brad Rao, who are the head writer and also director for the series, did a fantastic job. With Dave being so busy now, especially with the Mandalorian movie and his new position as CCO, they really held this together and gave us some amazing Star Wars. And I do think that we owe them our thanks too. I will fondly revisit this show. What did you think of the finale? What did you think of the show? Let me know, man, because I know I'm not the only one that was feeling these vibes during this show. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel so that you can stay updated. We have Tales of the Empire coming out next week, and man, I'm so excited for that. It is awesome to have had some great Star Wars, and I think that that's going to continue with Tales. Have a good one. I appreciate the discussion around Bad Batch, and let me tell you again, stay geeked up.